To be conquered or to be conquerors? That is the big question that we have tonight. Remember that we are living in a virtual world. Social media invasion seems to be the trend nowadays, and it affects not just the young, but even the old. So it affects all ages. And so tonight, in our episode here in Dynamic Youth, we'd like to present to you Click Responsibly.
With this social media explosion, let's learn more about social media and how are we going to deal with it. And together with me are the clickers of the society, the students of the Capital University. More of this, Doc. Back to you.
Okay, and here in the studio, I'd like to welcome my guests, not just the clickers, but the people who should be there to guide us on how to click responsibly. So I'd like to welcome to the show our psychometrician from Capital University, Dr. Marideth Simbahon. Good evening po sa inyo.
Hello everyone. Thank you for coming over and thank you for inviting me here. I'm happy and I hope that I can share with you how to click responsibly.
Opo, kasi kung hindi natin alam paano mag-click responsibly, baka magkaroon tayo ng problema, which ay kayang-kaya namang saluin ng ating isang gwapitong paborito kong abogado. I have here Attorney James Judith. Good evening po sa inyo.
Good evening, Doc. Long time no see and long time no hear. And good evening, fellow panelists. Good evening, my dear students of Capital University. Good evening, world.
Okay, and of course, we have the Dean, College of Computer Studies. We have Cyril Jane Ranido. Good evening sa iyo, CJ.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to share 1 hour of my birthday with you.
Wow, happy birthday po sa inyo.
Thank you.
Bigyan natin sigabong palakpakan ang ating birthday celebrant.
I'm happy to be with Dynamic Youth, and I want to say especially good evening to my dear IT students.
And of course, we have our Web and Social Media Center member. We have Mark Doblas.
Good evening po. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm really hoping that we will have a wonderful and fun discussion this evening.
And andito din po ang ating web administrator, Mr. Clifford Roa.
Good evening and thank you very much for having us here. And this is a great opportunity for us to share something more than electronic and digital platform where our hashtaggers and our trenders would help us really understand and show off that the edge of technology that is happening, especially in social media.
Yeah. So to start off, I'd like to ask any one of you for this question. Alam naman natin na ang social media ay in na in. Para bang kung hindi ka marunong, you belong to the dark ages, para kang dinosaur. So yun yung sinasabi nila. So paano ba ito? Do you see, para bang, unahin natin yung ating sociologist, Doktora Marideth, nakita ba natin ito, na darating ito sa ganitong point? I mean, in your studies, nakita ninyo na 10, 20 years back, of course, meron ng typewriter, meron ng konting-konting mga computers. Did you foresee it personally na magiging ganito ang ating technology?
For me, I really did not think that it will come this way, but as we all know, our way of living has been improving every now and then. So we will really expect that technologies will change, and it's just that we do not expect that it is now that it is already very high.
So sa inyo, CJ, so ang inyong college, no, sa computer studies, did you see a change in the trend of the number of enrollees compared to, say, 5 years ago and today?
Certainly there is, especially that we have opened a new course, which is IT. Before we use CS, we used to offer CS and ACT, but I could not really say that part of the increase of the enrollment that we have is because of the social media.
So it's not. But it's more, what I mean when I say in increase would be people are getting to be more interested in knowing about it, and maybe as a way of life and as a way of earning money.
Yes, so far I would agree that social media have somehow affects the life, especially of our students. And to some point, even our alumni would post some important improvement of Capital University College of Computer Studies. It's just that we did not have any formal study as to its relationship with the
Number of
enrollment,
enrollees.
yes.
Okay. Now, what about you, Clifford? Heck, ikaw yung web administrator. How did you come about? Na paano ka napasali dyan? Is it really your passion to go into this? Or is it something na, heto, kailangan ko lang gawin because I need to be socially responsible too?
Yeah, I think it's three in one. It's a vocation because we believe that technology would help us guide and into molding our younger generations into better professionals and individuals. And of course, second, it's a profession because I get paid for it. At the same time, I enjoyed what I'm doing. And of course, the third one is it's an interest that really put me into this passion because it's not that I'm doing this just because I was required to do this, but it was a passion in the first place. As a backgrounder in accountancy, I shifted or added my interest into information technology, and hence these days we know that mobilization of crowd, gathering of volunteers, and even doing some stuff would help us require the help of social media platforms to reach our netizens and our clickers.
Yeah. What about you, Mark? Why did you, make it as a line of, where you are into now?
Actually, when we started the Web and Social Media Center in CU, it was, I believe 2 years ago. I was invited by Clifford. Clifford is a personal friend of mine. I'm from the College of Business Administration. And that time, we were having problems with students who are posting things on Facebook that were actually, at some extent, below the belt. So Clifford invited me, and then suddenly we started the idea that we should create a web and social media center. That's why going to that idea is that one of our goals really, which we embrace, by the way, very heartily, is to really educate the students and the community, the CU community, about social media. And in relation to, just to make things clear, because some people think that one of the things that we really put into the perspective is that when you say social media, it is not necessarily be the Facebook and that one. It says social media started even before. There are prerequisites to become a social media, and I think that's something that we really put into discussion when we have our campaigns in every department. I'm hoping that we can expand our operation
Okay.
there.
Now, si attorney naman, in your practice as a lawyer, let's talk muna, you as a person, not what we should know about the law on being responsible social media users. Would you say na this present generation mas nakakatulong sa inyong practice as lawyers na meron kayong mga ganito ngayon, this technology now?
Yes, Doc. Actually, there are upsides and downsides sa social media. No, it's only lately. I mean, my personal life as well as my professional life as a lawyer are actually intertwined. So, when I deal with my professional life, I have to also deal with my personal life as well. You see, it's only lately that I've been into the group with this thing. 5 years ago, I guess a few years back, I never imagined I would really get into the group of, having to have a Facebook account, Twitter, and everything, and all this stuff. So I never imagined it. But when I went to Singapore, and I was told by my lawyer friends also there who are in Singapore, and they said, James, if you really want to apply, because I've been applying for international accreditation to international lawyering in Singapore, and they told me, if you don't have anything, if you're not into the group, especially with social media, you might really have a problem. That's their statement. You might have a problem getting accreditation from the Singapore International Arbitration Center. So it became a requirement, a sine qua non. I said, so if this is the case, so it's not just for personal interest, but my personal, professional interest as well. So I said, okay. So I decided, with the help of my girlfriend, She said, okay, so you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to, how do you get to apply
Alam mo,
sa Facebook
nakakatuwa yan
and everything?
You know guys, nakakatuwa yan kasi alam niyo yung mga bata ngayon, mas marurunong pa yatang gumamit ng
Yes.
computer. Believe me, it took me quite some time to learn the ropes of a computer, no? And I have to be taught by my kids.
Yes.
Sila yung nagtuturo sa akin and until now, I would say, medyo yata mababa pa rin. So, hindi pa rin ganun kagaling talaga. So, in terms of sa work, kasama siya.
Yes.
So, kung baga ngayon, ang social media or even itong mga networks na to, parang inherently, parang nakapackage siya for you to grow professionally, di ba? So, I'd like your comment on that, Clifford.
Yeah, of course, the limitations of social media comes with inherent rules, personal rules in that case. Because we in Capital University, when we with Christine, when we had this social media platform where we don't like students to think that we are policing. We are stopping them from what they wanted to post. What we wanted is you could have posted something better as compared to bashing, trashing, or doing some stuff that degrade a person or that degrade a community. So our role really was to make sure that students and of course our co-workers would really understand that it's not limited to Facebook. More or less, it's not. We may have 3: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but we still have more 100 social media platforms where we can share our emotions, our intelligence, and of course, in Capital University, where research is part of our activity. Those are the items that we could get those information. And really, we are trying to embrace, even if we know we have some elders in our institution, for our friends, but when they open up their minds and their hearts to accept social media, we know it's gonna be better for us to communicate.
Alam ninyo, kasi isa yan sa dapat maintindihan ng viewers natin, which is actually the objective of this episode ngayon, na we have to encourage, give the correct information on how to be responsible users. Kasi di ba minsan doon nagkakaproblema, which attorney will eventually enlighten us. Pero balikan ko muna si Dr. Marideth. Dr. Marideth, heto bang social media, how huge is its influence to the society today? In your research and in your personal opinion, ganun ba talaga kalawak ang kanyang effect ngayon sa society natin?
Of course, because there are a lot of things that you can do in social media. Now, for example, students, they can post, they can share what they want, no? So, most of the time, all of them are using it already. So, you can actually communicate with multiple persons at the same time.
Can it have a huge influence or an impact over the young people's minds?
Yes, because most of the time, they spend a lot of time in the internet because they want to use this social media. No? So, most of the time, there are also times when they can forget things to converse with personally for people because...
So parang nawala yung personal touch. No?
Yeah.
Parang nawala yung pag-aano
yung
nila.
face-to-face,
Yes, you're about to say something, Clifford.
Yeah, I think it's a rebuttal because based on our experience, based on the center's activities, we thought that social media really help on socializing a person in terms of, let's put it this way, the more that you communicate through social media, the more that you have more opportunity to converse personally and face-to-face. Para bang the social media is just the lead of the transaction. In this case, if we're going social media on electronic commerce. So on a personal level, iba rin ang interaction nung minsan hindi kayo nakita sa social media. Hanggang sa nakita lang kayo dahil sa reunion. Kasi more or less, when you go into a reunion, we do a lot of activities as a president of the CEO alumni, of which Mark is also part of the board. So we thought that I was not able to join the activity because I was not informed through social media. And then later on, you would ask, bakit hindi kayo nag-join? Kasi hindi kami mag-subscribe na lang kami sa mga groups or sa mga pages or those are the items. So we thought the positive side already overloads the negative side because mas marami siyang maitulong. The advantages are better than disadvantages.
Okay. What about you, CJ? Is social media very useful in your job?
Certainly yes, especially in terms of information dissemination. I would say that nowadays, social media, I think, would even surpass the coverage of television and radios. Because in Facebook, let's say, if you post something, if you have hundreds or thousands of followers, automatically that will have to multiply and multiply. Okay, unlike with some other medium of information dissemination, wherein people do not really interact, so there is a sort of limitation in terms of the scope of the number of recipients. Professionally, let's say, I find social media really helpful because for the Philippine Society of IT Educators, where I am an officer and a member, we seldom use cell phones actually, okay, to text and contact members.
Kasi mas mahal ba?
Mas
Mas magastos? O ba kaya
Yeah,
nag-back down yung
but-
cell site?
Pero I have noticed that most of our members are actually online most of the time. So it's easier to disseminate information with the use of social media.
Okay, what about you, Mark? You're just smiling there.
Yeah, taking it from the point of the dean, no, actually, when we really say social media, this is one thing that we, there are certain qualifications for you to say that something is a social media. With the presence kasi of social media, unlike television, the people are not just receivers, but they're also creators of information. And that is where the risk comes in. No? Because when in TV, you only receive information from one person who is sending massive information during, like the Marcos administration, during the time, I know what they did, painting very good situation in the country. But with social media like internet, Twitter, Facebook, things like that, you are actually creators of information. And that is where problems usually come in. We always say to our students, talking about social impact to the lives of these students, social media is not a replacement for social interaction. It is an enabler of social interaction.
Pero, you know, corollary to what you're saying, Mark, actually, di ba, governments can be created or moved
Yes.
through social media. And this is already proven, Attorney
In
James.
rallies, remember Arab Spring in the Middle East? Yes, media has become so pervasive, Doc. Actually, it's useful and helpful, but the downside, one downside that I observe is that you lose your privacy. And there's also another thing, even the more mundane things, like katong mga pagkaon, ginapost na maski saging ra ang gikaon, maski ginamos ra or unsa, nagkaon lang god ordinary ra kay nga butang, gi-upload na gi-post na dito sa, so ikaw po kung di ba friends nimo siya sa FB, mabutang sa imong wall, so mahurot imong oras, sige ka tanaw-tanaw unsa ba kini wala may mga pulos unta dapat
Except na
choosy.
saging lang siya.
Saging lang siya, naglakaw ra gud sila, nagpusing-pusing or something
Oo,
like
kaya
that. So,
naman
parang
kaya
there's
naman.
an information glut or overload. Dapat
Yes.
we have to be
Which
responsible.
we'd like to
also.
get muna the opinion of our young panelists, no, before you react. Kasi ready na si Clifford at saka si Mark to interact. Yel, tanungin
Doc.
natin yung ating mga young panelists muna.
Alright.
Ilan ba talaga ang social media accounts meron sila at ano ang kanilang ginagamit? Isa or dalawa lang, please.
All right. Who would like to start? Online. How many social media do you have?
I only have two, Facebook and Twitter.
Okay. Twitter, okay.
We can follow her though.
How often do you open your account? Kahit sino sa kanila. Okay, how often do you open your account?
How often? Please stand up first. Your name?
Brieford, sir.
Brieford from the College of
Computer Studies.
Computer Studies. How often?
Daily, sir.
Daily, like?
Facebook and Instagram.
In 1 hour. How often?
Like 30 minutes. Sir, that's all, sir.
All right.
So supposing in a day, sige, sino sa kanila? Supposing in a day, in a 24-hour day period, how many hours do you spend in your social media? Quiet lang, hindi natin sabihin sa mga parents ninyo.
How many hours in a day? Please stand up.
1 hour, sir.
1 hour.
A day.
1 hour in an hour? 1 hour a day. Your name, please?
Yara Zoe.
She's a very good girl, ma'am. Only 1 hour a day.
Bakit ikaw pala? Gaano ka katagal pag nandun ka?
It depends on how many girlfriends you have.
Okay. So, Clifford, kanina you were about to react. Sige, ano yon?
If you're using social media as a part of your advocacy, then 24/7 is your unlimited time for social media. We have in social media analytics and measuring the efficiency of social media. It is quite effective if it's measured in cost per click. So para bang a 1 peso text can be delivered to a 1 individual, while a 1 peso broadcasting using the social media boost, this is the paid part of the social media, you can have at least 1,000 replicated into 100 of thousands and more. So ang tinitingnan lang natin because little things that you would like to post. The analogy is if you're inside your room, you would take care of your surroundings. You wanted your wall to be posted like a painting, like this one. You have a lights, and then you wanted to do whatever you wanted to do inside your wall. Incidentally, the wall that we are referring is the same wall with social media. So if you think, assuming if you are Lady Gaga, where you thought that you have 30 million followers in Twitter, how many of those are truly human people? How many of those are just following because they wanted to achieve what Lady Gaga achieved? Kung unsay kolor siyang buhok, mo putang kolor sa buhok because mo nakita sa Twitter. But on the bright side, why would businesses wanted to connect with Lady Gaga? Because they know the following, the replicator mode of social media can affect. So in a nutshell, on the side of a personal level, it's really a choice of a person to post. Usually ang selfie magid no, ang pinaka-common karon, especially selfie sa sulod sa restroom. Okay? Again, for the young people and for the young ones alike, that's nothing's wrong there. Nothing's wrong there. Because that's your wall. That's your wall.
Nobody can question that, di ba?
Yeah, hindi mo man sinabi sa isang tao na bantayan mo ang wall ko kasi nag-post ako doon na nandun ako sa CR ng mall. So in that case, that's my wall. If you don't like my post, block me or even hide my news feeds. That's your choice. But yun na nga lang, the choice that we are making here is sometimes what we are posting affects the emotions of other people.
And not only that, kasi it shows the ones who see it, who you are. Di ba? So if you want to show yourself to be intelligent, to be somebody who has better things to do except to be posting all of this, attorney, bakit? Gusto mo ba na palagi na lang ganun saging?
Even, di ba, sa katong sa CR, mag-retouch lang, dito, nakapost, pusing-pusing ang... The problem is, I'm not really that computer savvy or internet savvy, so I don't know how to unfriend or unfollow or whatever you call it. And I don't even have time to. Actually, sa FB group na ako, I actually have about 100 plus or so FB groups. So, even if I spend about a fair amount of time siguro in a day, say an hour or two, I still don't have enough time to open all of
that.
FB
Yes.
groups. So,
Parang you're wasting your time, di ba? So balikan natin si AL. AL,
Yes,
question, what is your trivia for this?
All right, our trivia is very simple. Hashtag social media. Is it good or bad? All right, we have here. You're from the College of
Computer Studies, sir.
Computer Studies, and your name is?
Brian.
Social media, is it good or bad?
It's both, sir.
It's both. Good and bad. All right, why?
Because in a good perspective, makatabang siya sa pag-spread sa mga information, labi na sa mga assignments.
Uy!
nabuking.
Wakay na ako naklaro, Doc. Ang paminaw na to usab. Unsa to?
Labi na sa mga assignments, mga
And for bad?
Ang sa bad kay kuan nga ng
Mangupya.
example ka ng privacy nimo, makita nila kung nag-selfie ka, may buwan kung asa ka. O kana kung imuhang mga pictures, dili na ikaw tagiya kay ako according sa agreements and terms sa Facebook.
Daghan mo download sa imong picture. Ikaw nang artista. All right. Some more for trivia. Social media, is it good or is it bad? But first, are you still single? Unsa may imong Twitter account, Facebook account?
Shella San Miguel. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook.
Copied. All right. So, social media, is it good or bad?
It's good and it's bad. It's good because it makes people far from us closer to us, and it's bad because it makes close people farther from us. Because just like in our family, even though my sister and I don't see each other that much, she's in the room, I'm in the sala, we were just posting social media. We were commenting on the same picture. I mean, it's good because we still communicate, but it's not much that person.
So the interaction level is quite distant. At the same time, for the distant people, they are still close to us. All right. Last one for the trivia. Social media, is it good or bad? All right, we have here a beautiful lady in front. Who goes by the name of?
Hi, I'm Aya Erica Miranda A, third-year civil engineering student.
Still single? No, not single.
Cannot be
Unfriend. All right. So guys, block. Do not follow. All right. Is it good or is it bad?
For me, it's good as long as you know your limitations.
Thank you. It's good as you know your limitations. Doc, from the clickers, it's either both. It depends on how we use it. Back to you, Doc.
Okay, we'll take a very short break, and when we return, we'll continue on our discussion on Click Responsibly. Please stay tuned.
We are people, and we love to get connected. We connect as families because of birth. We connect as friends because we click. And we connect as communities because we care. Seventh-day Adventists are people who connect in communities called congregations, which in turn connect to form conferences, who connect together to form unions, divisions, and the General Conference. Why do we connect? It starts with a connection to the Creator, who invites us on a spiritual journey. When we journey together, we can help each other along the way. This journey is a journey of a lifetime, and as we learn and grow, life becomes filled with meaning and purpose. Our greatest joy is in helping others along the way. Wherever you are on your journey, we believe that we have something to offer that can make your life more whole. So the next time you see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, you're not looking at someone who stands alone. They are connected to a world church that has 18 million members, gathered in 13 divisions, comprised of 122 unions, formed by 600 conferences, serving in 140,000 congregations in 208 countries, who worship in 924 languages, and they all want to connect with you.
We are here in Capital University with the question, is social media good or bad? Let's ask some dynamic students of their opinions. For you, do you think social media is good or bad?
It's good. Sa uban man, magamit manggod, pwede nimo i-search unsay mong kailanganon. Daghan ba mo mabuhat kung unsay mong gusto o pangitaon. Pero napayuban nga bad nga himuon nilag daotan bitaw. Na himuon nilag daotan, asa sila nagkaasa mga tao na dira sila moadto, ilang sundon, kidnap sila. good man siya pero nara sa duha sa
Para sa imo, ang social media, maayo ba siya or daotan?
Asa ako maayo man, especially ang Facebook. Kaya para maka-communicate sa akong pamilya bitaw sa layo lugar. So sa ako, maayo lang siya. Napay time na daotan kay ang uban magamit ana, wala na nila ang ilang pagkaon bitaw. Magkaon kay tuman lang ana silag Facebook niya ang ilang pagkaon wala natin man na. So nay kadaot gyapon.
Para sa inyo, ang social media, maayo ba siya or daotan?
Ay maayo kay kuan pamaagis sa mga social media like Facebook, mga Twitter, communicate ka sa imo kanang people nga layo sa imuha. Tapos dili po siya maayo usahay kay nayuban nga ilan ang gahimo ay kanang gahimo na ninilag kanang murag permitiyan na bitaw nila nga di na nila makuha nilang studies minana.
Maayo pud siya kay makatabang pud siya og communicate sa uban nimo nga mga imong exit pa ng crush kanang imong family sa gawas para makatabang sa kuan kung naunsa na ba mga komunikasyon nga then ang dili pud maayo ka nang masobraan bitaw then ilang imong dautan.
We just heard some of our dynamic students' opinions about social media. This is Shireen Gay T. Baslot, invading Capital University for Dynamic Youth.
And we are back and still logged in, together with the Capital University students. We'll be clicking more, Doc, and back to you.
Yes, so ngayon, ang ating mga panelists here, maybe you would like to interact, react, if you like, or act on the answers of our young people kanina.
Yes, Doc. One of the clickers said that one advantage of social media is that it brings people far from us, closer to us. The downside or the obverse of that is that it brings people closer to us, far from us. That's the opposite.
So kumbaga, imbis na magiging malapit, nagkakalayo. Kasi nag-aaway-aaway pa nga minsan yan di
Yes,
ba?
because we spend time with that person but we're not really into it. We notice, and then we talk but we no longer really speak. We hear but we no longer really listen. So that's the problem. That's the downside. Di ba? Mag-uban mo sa usa ka tao, you really want to exchange stories or something like that. But then wala ka kanang nauban mo but magkaon mo na mo sa gawas but then dili
So
gid mo
what you're trying to say, attorney, yung personal touch, wala na. Di ba? Yes, Clifford.
I have to be very biased with my chosen profession and vocation because for me, social media is not good, but it's best of the best. Because I saw the bright side of social media. We know that the Arab Springs, we know the mobilization of the 1% versus 9% in Wall Street, in New York. We know all those things. They were mobilized by social media. On a personal level, if you're dining out with your families and friends, it's your choice to open your cell phone or to hang your cell phone. It's your choice if inside the movie, inside the cinema, you would open your cell phone because you wanted to show off that I'm watching this particular movie right here, right now. It's a personal choice. In the end, the choice of a person with using social media, balikan na nato, tanggalon na nato ang social media. A person's choice pa rin ang privacy. Okay? Because if you wanted to run for a barangay council or barangay captain, outside your house, going back to the old times, wala pa may tarp, it's only the cloth. Okay? Makeshift cloth. You would always say dito, congratulations, my son graduated kindergarten. That's your choice. Because right here, right now, you would say, even on the first day of kindergarten, you would say, congratulations to my son for hurdling the first day of his school life. So in the end, going back again, fast forward to social media, it's always been a choice of a person. No matter what you wanted to have social media as to your advantage. And one thing, for example, if we're going to use LinkedIn, the social media for professionals, nobody would try to hire you in Facebook and Twitter.
where professionals, headhunters, and head seekers, they would go into LinkedIn because they wanted to show off that it's not the 3 person that referred you that would refer that was your skill, but it's your friend in the social media hemisphere that would state that this person is good in training, this person is good in other items.
Yeah, tumatawa, nakangiti si Mark. Yes, Mark.
It's because I remember a story, one of my friend, about, being being together but not really being there. No? I can remember a friend who once told me a story. He dated somebody, and a friend. No, it's not my personal experience. It's a friend.
Maybe it's your personal experience.
It was a friend who actually told me that he was bothered during the date because the girl was not talking to her. She was just posting something on Facebook. And he told the girl, anong kuan ka diya, date man ta. Nagasto ko ani. And then the girl said, di man ako sala, nga boring ka. I mean, those kind of situations, like what Clifford told us, it's really a choice. I have been invited by a lot of friends. I'm even surprised. Even videoke houses have internet inside. What's the purpose of having a videoke house if you have at the end of the day, your friend will just go to in front of the computer and just use Facebook. And what's the point of us gathering in a videoke house with an internet connection so that one of your friends could be detached from you? I just don't understand those kind of things. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about perspective and choice.
What about CJ? Sa school, in your college, do you have programs wherein the students are guided also in terms of the use of social media? Kasi eventually, after you answer that, I'd like to throw the next question to Dr. Maribeth. How does it affect emotionally naman itong social media invasion na ito sa isang bata, lalo na yung mga kabataan ngayon? Yes, CJ.
Okay, every start of the semester, we have what we call the General Assembly for each college, wherein part of which are gentle reminders for the students that would include, of course, the use of social media. And aside from that, instructors always start the first day of class with the orientation. And still, that would include how should our students be responsible with their actions, not just inside the classroom, but even in the social media.
What about Dr. Maribeth?
In my line of profession, face-to-face communication is what we really wanted the students to hold on. Now, I believe that because of social media, our friends had been replaced with contacts, and our conversations had been replaced with text. Now, as you said earlier, the personal touch, the nonverbal cues are no longer there, so you can no longer see the person's face, how the person talks to you, whether it's really seriously or not. So that is why we always encourage in the department that if you have certain problems, because in social media there is no clear distinction between private and public information. So most likely it's a public information, so whatever you want to post there, everybody can access into it. But for us, since we will be dealing with issues, very confidential issues, so we would really like students to really come and have a face-to-face conversation with us.
Okay. Now, balikan ko si AL. AL, itong ating mga panelists, pwedeng tanungin natin sila bago si attorney dito sasagot because I need a few things from our panelists. Unang tanong ko are you honest in the filling out of your information in your profile?
All right. Honest. Are you handsome? Yes. All right. Anybody? Anybody? Let's
Ayaw
go.
na nila sumagot.
Don't be shy. All right, we have here a very beautiful lady by the name of?
Shari.
Shari. Shari from the College of?
Computer Studies.
Computer Studies. And?
Are you honest? Yes, I'm honest in filling the profile in Facebook.
So if it says there, relationship, what do you say?
No.
It's complicated. All right. We need one more? One more, Doc?
Yeah, one more.
One more
the
from a
other-
guy.
Yeah.
All right, from here. are you honest with your the things that you are putting into social media?
Before, when I was still not legal, I used to put not my year, since in Facebook you're not allowed to register with when you're not 18. So kato siya, I write 1990, yeah, it's like that. So it's not honest at all.
All right. So
ayan ha, sinagot na nila, hindi sila honest minsan. Itapon natin ngayon kay Attorney James. Is there such, pwede ba yun crime committed?
No, the law does not require you to be honest, Doc, sa imong personal profile or data. The only requirement of the law is that you don't post any libelous articles or make any libelous comments. Yun lang.
Pero di ba meron tayong tinatawag na heto ha, ito sa pinakaano ngayon, yung cyberbullying, di ba? What is this all about? Para aware din tayo dahil lahat naman tayo siguro are users. So what would be the limits on how far can we go and heto nga cyberbullying?
Actually, cyberbullying is same thing sa actual bullying, Doc, except that it is transposed sa internet. Same thing, same thing.
And can these people who do it, can you trace them and can you file a criminal case against these people or wala din, silent din ang law natin?
Actually, the law is silent on it, but if you can trace it and then conform with the rules on evidence, you can still use that to convict the person.
Okay.
So actually, Clifford and Mark can help. How do you? I know I'm not much into
so
it.
sa kaninyo na yan. So
yun
how do you do that?
First thing I'd like to clarify, the legal age for Facebook is 14 years old and not 18 years old. So when you go to elementary schools right now, 99.99% of those kids have Facebook accounts. And when you ask, are you 14 years old? Do you have the permission of your parents? So everything would be say, okay lang naman because it's okay to lie. It's okay to lie just because of the registration of Facebook. Anyway, ang gipost man lang ng mga bata is the activities of the kids where they wanted to tag also their classmates. And in my part, as a parent, I would say they are better because they have documented their life as young as kindergarten. Unlike us, going back to my days, I cannot speak in behalf of the other panelists here, but treasuring pictures later on. Kaya nga nauso ang mga Throwback Thursday because we wanted to show off what we really look like years before. Now, on the threshold of cyberbullying, if you do not post something that you don't want to be bullied, nobody will bully you. Take, for example, that person who tried to maneuver his car during the devastation of flood in Manila, you remember? And then later on, he passed the bar, of course. Later on, in retrospect, he would say, if hindi ako nag-post na, if walang tao rin na nakakita na pumunta ako sa baha, nobody would bully me kasi you are trying to kill yourself. You are trying to destroy your vehicle in the first place. So going back on cyberbullying, if you don't want to be bullied, meron din mga anak ng mga artista. Gwapo, gwapa, naapoy something like, dili kayo gwapa, dili kayo gwapo. If you remember in social media, many of those, kaso nga, going back, kaya naman pala hindi maganda kasi nagpa-facelift or nagpa-retouch lang pala yung parents, kaya lumabas doon sa bata, hindi talaga maganda. On the social media hemisphere, would say, hindi naman maganda ang anak niya. So the bullying, all the elements of insult going back to that particular little child, nandun na. Okay? But if that parent did not post that one, nobody will notice. But of course, because that child is an endorser of a product, and on the side of electronic commerce, that would really help on social media.
Okay, so balikan ko si AL. AL, baka may gustong mga audience tayo members who would like to throw questions to our panelists. We'll have 3 questions, please.
all right. We have some guests here who would like to ask some questions. We'll start from questions. Here. A very fine gentleman by the name of?
Good evening po. I'm Mark Raniel M. Mochigi po, from the College of Engineering.
And your question is?
I would just like to ask if learning social media advisable to be taught to young age, and if doing so, does it affect the conventional way of learning, such as using books or hands-on solving problems, etc., etc.?
Okay, so who would like to answer that?
It does affect, Doc. That's the reason why I don't require my students to, I don't give them assignments that would require them to call information from the internet or from Google or whatever. So isa that's the foremost requirement. Then, in reaction to Cliff, what he just said, di ba, Facebook na age requirement is 14, but actually that does not change the law. It's still 18. Ang giingon ni Cliff, it's only for Facebook. But the legal requirement wherein by law, you can do something with legal effects, it's still 18.
Okay.
So that's only for Facebook.
Yes. What about you, ma'am, Dr. Maribeth? Yung reaction ninyo doon sa tanong ng ating audience na can it affect really the interaction?
Yes, it will because students, if they have assignments, they are supposed to go to the library, read their books there, but now they are already using their social media to copy and paste their assignments and then pass it to the
At
professor.
saka siguro, alam ninyo, hindi siguro kasi natin makikita pa ang long-term effect nito. Because it will, it may take time, 10, 20 years from today, when we will truly be able to say na, heto yung effect. Kasi when you do research, it takes time di ba? So, hetong mga effect na ito ngayon, maybe it's just ripples Hindi pa natin nakikita what's at the tip of the iceberg. So, ano yung pangalawang tanong dyan?
Logged in and clicker all the way from Palestine.
My name is Omar Al-Ismani from the College of Engineering. I have a question about social media. It's like most of my friends are also using it. So they're using it like more than usual. Like they times two their time. Some of them use it 24/7. Like they're starting to use it more than actual life. Like they're not talking to their friends anymore and starting to use the social media as like their life now. What could you say, or how could you help them like go back to their original life and not always use this social media? Because like for me, social media is a very great tool to help you connect with your family and friends, but I don't really think it's the best way on making friends.
Okay, napakaganda ng kanyang tanong. Unahin natin si CJ.
I guess especially for you guys, students, just like the previous discussion, viewing Facebook as either good or bad is also the same as asking, how does it affect relationship among us? I think for students, my advice is this: part of being responsible, you should not be overwhelmed. You should not be consumed by Facebook to the point that it would eventually separate you from those who are close to you, especially your friends.
Okay. Yes, Clifford?
As the saying goes, lahat ng sobra hindi maganda. Except lang kung maganda ka talaga. Or gwapong-gwapo ka talaga. Okay. In any activity, pag mo sobra, dili siya mayo. We know we have some jocks. We have some good athletes in the university. If you focus too much on being a good athlete, the problem is you would take more time exercising, you would take more time training, and then later on, napabayaan mo na ang pag-aaral mo. Same with social media. If you think social media is interfering your day-to-day activities, then you have a syndrome already. The Facebook addiction syndrome.
Yeah, but the thing there is, sometimes they don't know that they're already into the syndrome, right?
Yes. Yeah, acceptance lang naman yan, personal acceptance. And when this guy said that he noticed, no matter how you said that you are into more than Facebook already, as long as that person would not accept the fact that he's been addictive already, wala pa rin magagawa. In the end, balik pa rin sa tao.
Yes.
Actually, relationship, one thing also, I agree with Cliff, pero one thing I noticed about the internet, relationships are made instantly. And because relationships are made instantly,
They're also broken instantly. So parang 1 = 1 lang yan siya.
Nobody, I don't know with the young generation today, but I still prefer the old-fashioned way, writing love letters. To
Yes,
one you
me
love.
too. Okay. Pangatlo, yung last question dyan sa audience.
And for the last part, we have a very beautiful lady by the name of Yvonne. She would like to address a question.
Pleasant evening to all. Because Sir Clifford mentioned regarding Facebook addiction syndrome, so how can we have can you identify the symptoms so that for us, we would identify it to ourselves if we are already affected with such?
Okay, so ano daw ba? Anong mga senyales na meron? Dapat tanungin natin si Dr. Marideth. Okay?
If you're already using social media 24/7, that's already something, no? Actually, if you have certain schedules in the day and you have time to converse with other people and you have your schedule for classes, so you have to attend to those and your remaining time can be used by social media. But if these things or using social media can already replace your classes, your friends going out together, that's already an evidence that you're already going into it.
Actually, in the medical standpoint, in the health point, no, remember that anything in excess is always bad for the body. When it becomes overly, in other words, wala ka ng time para maligo. Ayaw mo nang magsuklay, ayaw mo nang magpaganda o kaya maglinis ng katawan mo. O kaya naman napapabayaan mo yung pagkain mo, napapabayaan mo makipag-usap sa mga magulang mo o kaya mag-aral ng mabuti. I think these are the watch out signs that anyone can see and observe among themselves. So now, ang tanong ko ngayon sa aking mga panelists ay heto. What would be the best things or tips, practical ones, that we can give our students, our viewers, on how to become clickers that are responsible without overindulging, and number 2, without harming themselves, and number 3, without harming their relationships? Let's start off with Clifford.
First and foremost, just go on with your life, and if you think social media is a tool, I always been taught by my mentors that whatever you wanted to do, and you think computers, internet and information technology, it's not part of the system, it's just a tool. That would make you a better person. Now, in a level of an advocacy of donating blood, I always post that I indeed donated blood, my wife donated blood, my family, my friends donated blood, because we wanted to show off that scenario where donating blood is good for your health. And what's wrong with posting those items in social media? So I know, as a fact of advice, anything that is in excess is bad. And you know very well, nobody will police you inside your account and inside your room. It's only you who can stop yourself.
Okay, what about Mark? What would be your tip?
In the social media center, we always say it starts with the mind, no? The mental framing. How do you see social media in your life? Is it your life na good already, or is it just part of a tool, as Clifford said, that you can use in order for you to make your lives better? When printing press was created, Martin Luther King said it was the gift from God. When Facebook was created, I said it is also a gift from God. It is an engine for social revolution, and that's one thing that we have to understand. Now, simple steps can come in after mental framing, after you have conditioned your mind or perspective of how you will view social media. There are simple things that you can do. Like, I like the campaign of, I think it's McDonald's, because it's English McDonald's. If it's Filipino, McDonald's, no? McDonald's, the campaign for offline. You know what I mean? Can you still remember that? The offline campaign. Those are the things that you can do. Like you can have in your family the solemn hour. From 6 to 9, nobody should use social media. That's the time for family to watch and do your routines. You can have that. You can start that. But it would really dwell. At the end of the day, when all the dust settles, it's on how you see social media. And that's easier said than done, by the way. That's why the social media is here to guide us.
All right. What about CJ? Simple tips?
First and foremost, siguro, I would say that, especially for students, before you click post, okay, please always have that question in mind. Why would you want such thing to be posted? Okay? Because sometimes the use of social media will always go back to the purpose of using it in the first place. There was a study, a documentary actually, that was aired in one of the TV shows. I don't know if Dr. Simbahon will have to agree to this, and I think this is highly debatable, that those people who keep on posting and posting even nonsense are actually sign of insecurity. Okay, but as what I've said, that is either true or correct. And that would depend on the reason, the purpose, the objective of why you actually posted something with your wall. What do you expect others, Kay, in return?
Okay, what about Attorney James?
Just take into consideration what Cliff and Mark said, that go on with your life. I mean, if you think the internet is, or social media is a helpful tool, then no problem with it. Just one thing, do not allow it to take control of your life. Just, make sure that you keep the balance. Because I'm afraid, Doc, that you might get to the point, there's one movie, I forgot the title, wherein they use it to substitute the actual exchanges, something like that. So, meaning, we get to be impersonal in everything. So, for me, there's still no substitute for the real McCoy.
Okay, what about Dr. Maribeth?
Okay, for me, actually, social media can help us, like if you are already sociable, like you're a people person, using social media can actually strengthen your avenues for conversation more, because you are now conversing with other people who are not there. But for those whom we call the unsociable, or those that are not sociable people, this is also a good avenue to express yourself, because you do not like to see other people. You want to express yourself now. That is a good avenue to express your ideas, you share your thoughts. But when you use social media, see to it that when you post there something, it is beneficial to everybody, not only for yourself, but also for other people. No, not to harass them, not to give them or lower their self-esteem, but to encourage. No, not just post anything that you want. Like what Ma'am CJ said, no, posting anything is actually a person that is kulang sa pansin lang, no, likes to be appreciated, or parang gusto lang mapansin siya nga unsa niyang mga kung ano, that is why mas daghan niyang i-post. Pero if you are a responsible, if you want to be a responsible person using social media, see to it that you are helping not only your own.
Okay, what about you, Yeah.
Thank you, Doc. Log in if you need it. Log out if you don't. Like, follow, and love. Comment and take selfies responsibly. From all of us here, from the clickers of Capital University, thank you. And back to you, Doc.
Yes, alam po natin that we have to be responsible users of media, and nothing should replace our personal touch, personal care with our loved ones. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat.